Hi, guys, and welcome to another episode of a Student of the Game podcast. As always, I'm Kevin. I'm the student. And today's teacher, we have Baylan Mozon. Baylan, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, man. I appreciate you being on. A couple of the guys on the team have been really excited to hear from you, kind of hear your story, hear a little bit of the advice and things and tidbits you have for us. So, give us a little bit of an understanding of what you currently do.
Yeah. So I'm Baylan, and I run a e-commerce growth agency. And essentially what we do is we help e-commerce brands amplify and elevate their visual aesthetic online. So I do that. That's like my main gig. Mm-hmm. And then on the side, I actually DJ. So
nice. All right. I'm excited, man.
Yeah, we got both sides of the spectrum.
You got the nightlife and the day life.
Yeah.
Nice. So we're going to obviously dive into this, guys, and get in a lot more detail. But I want to take a second and just talk about this episode's sponsor. One of the guys who supported us, Athletic Greens, which is an awesome greens powder. It's an all-in-one formula. It's designed for you guys to take it once a day each morning to get you all the nutrients and all the different vitamins that you need for your body to maximize its full potential and to be able to continuously push yourself in the entrepreneur world and being able to, really spread yourself, at full capacity. So make sure you guys check it out, athleticgreens.com. And get yourself a supply going into the summer. Summer bodies are coming soon. So
you already know.
Yeah, come on, man. So talk to us a little bit about where it all began, right? Because the e-commerce thing is blowing up. I know a lot of good friends of mine who are making money there. I know a lot of friends who are, really getting good at the skill set of, building media companies. Is this something that you always had a vision of, or is this something new?
Absolutely not. So, funny story, back in 2019, my cousin, he was actually getting ready to try and grow his restaurant. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I was exploring multiple things. I was flipping products on eBay. I was running a clothing brand, and I was over here going on Craigslist trying to flip products there. So I was really trying to find something that I could actually do as a full-time gig instead of doing multiple things.
Well, let me ask you this. How long did you go in that space where you're like, hey, I'm going to try this? I don't want it to sound negative, but you're kind of throwing stuff at the wall, seeing what sticks, right?
Yeah.
How long did you kind of do that?
Honestly, for like 2 years.
Okay. And that whole time, you're doing things, but nothing felt like this was it.
Yeah, exactly.
So how did you know when this was it?
Last year. So around January, February of last year is when I was like, okay, we got something going.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like, what gave you that feeling that you were now on the right path?
I would just say being able to help other people and seeing them actually grow and actually value the company and them actually wanting to grow with the company is when I was just like, we got something going. So,
yeah, that's when it kind of gave you that assurance that, hey, we're really building something.
Exactly.
So how did it start, though? What made you guys decide to start that endeavor of all things?
Mm-hmm. So specifically, like focusing on e-commerce.
What made you decide to start a media company in general? Because that's a tough market, right?
It is. It's literally you go outside and you'll probably run into like 20 photographers and videographers. So it's definitely not an easy niche. But to answer your question, it wasn't even supposed to be like this. We originally started as a regular digital marketing agency trying to run ads and social media management. And then finally in 2021, we actually were able to focus on just media for e-commerce brands because that's where the majority of our clients were.
Well, wait. Before we even get to the specific realm of what part of the industry you attacked, what made you even decide you wanted to get into the industry at all, right? Because now you've already kind of boiled down the market share you're after. You're after this specific, congregation of people, and we're good at that. But getting into media in general, right? So here's what I know, and I don't know what you know, and that's what you're here for, but I do know most people who buy a camera are all of a sudden a photography company, right?
Yeah.
They get a nice camera somewhere on Facebook or, even if they go buy a nice one on Best Buy, now all of a sudden, they're a professional wedding photographer and an anniversary photographer, right? And I get it, you got to make ends meet.
Yeah.
But, how did that birth for you, and how much of knowing how scarce that market was, kind of scared you away from it, or did that push you into it? I mean, where was your mentality at the beginning?
I wasn't honestly even worried about that. Like, there was just never a thought in the back of my mind that, there's so many different photographers and videographers. Like, I just wanted to go at it.
Yeah.
And here we are.
So for you, the fear of, hey, there's other guys doing this, that never really crossed your mind.
Absolutely not.
Why not? Is it that you knew you could do it, or is that you knew there was enough for everyone, or what's kind of in there giving you that assurance?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the thing that really gave me the assurance that we're going to crush this is that nobody was niche specific, and everybody was just like general photographers and videographers. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of great work out there, but what we're putting out is a little bit different than what they're doing, and we're very niche specific.
So you had the area of the market that you guys are doing with e-commerce companies. That was in mind from the very beginning.
No, it wasn't.
So, see, come on, you got to tell me how this is developing, man. So
yeah, I'm trying to get to it.
Okay,
yeah,
all right, so you guys started. Hey, let's give it a shot. Let's see how it goes. And then, how long into it did you go? Let's attack that area.
Yeah. So again, back in 2019.
Okay,
that's when we were like focusing on Facebook ads, social media management. Then fast forward to 2020, we were exploring like literally everything. There was a point where we started to branch off into trying to help car dealerships. So from there, I was just like, okay, we need to find something that is actually at scale. Mm-hmm. So in 2021 is when we actually decided to focus completely on that. So from 2019 to about 2020, it was everything.
Yeah.
And then 2021 is when we focused on e-commerce. Strictly, yeah.
So I got a million questions, and I'm trying to figure out where I want to start, right? Because I want to know about where it is now. But let's talk early stages. So when you first decided, hey, we're going to give this a shot. How many you got? Is it just you? Is it you and a friend? I mean, where are we at in terms of the role?
Yeah, so it's literally just me. I was over here on Freelancer and Upwork looking for graphic designers, and I actually found one, and he was with us for quite some time, but. Yeah, just me. I'm over here on Canva creating graphics on YouTube, trying to figure out how to run Facebook ads. I was a solo entrepreneur at that time. So, yeah.
How, and honestly, the one-man band is so profitable if you're skilled and if you can develop the repertoire. But that's also the hardest way to build a reputation is alone, because you have less voices, you have less people out there putting out brand recognition. So, coming into it, did you always have in mind that you wanted to build an organization, or, when did that kind of click?
To be completely transparent with you, I was just looking for like a way to make money at the time. So it never occurred to me that this would be something.
Yeah, you're not even thinking about that.
No, not at all.
You're trying to get money.
Exactly.
Okay. So obviously, that's kind of where most guys start, right? Is I got to make ends meet. And most people I speak to like that, the thing they have in common is they got a hustler's mentality. Mm-hmm. And it sounds a lot like that's kind of where you came from when you explained, hey, I was trying anything. Sounds like you just got hustler in you. You just were born with the ability to hustle.
Yeah, I was flipping. My mom would make these burritos in middle school, and I was known as the burrito boy. Because I would bring like these burritos to school, and there was one point where I started to, how inflation is a thing now.
Yeah.
So I decided to do that in middle school, and upped my price by like $1, and everybody was mad at me. But
how much were the burritos originally before the dollar increase?
They were like $1.
Okay,
$1, $2.
Doubled up, man.
Yeah.
Doubled up. Okay, so you've been hustling since a child, huh?
Exactly.
So talk to us a little bit about, and the only reason I asked, right, is because I've been asked the question a lot is, do you have to be born with something that gives you that hustle? Do you have to be born with that grit, or can you learn these things? So I do ask some prefacing questions. Talk to us about, your upbringing. Were you an only child? Did you have brothers and sisters? Were you competitive? Were you in sports? Did any of that pertain to the mentality that you have now?
Yeah. So I did grow up the only child on my mom's side.
Okay.
And I spent all my life with my mom. Like I lived with her all my life for about 22 years. I do have a little brother now. But I do have a sister and some step siblings on my dad's side. But yeah, I mean.
And you got the opportunity to they were in your life as a child.
Exactly, yeah.
So
both of them.
Were they, who in your life really pushed you to make things happen? Who kind of gave you that first glimpse of what hustle really was?
Mm-hmm. That's a great question.
That's what I do.
I would say just seeing my dad work on cars and like flip them.
Yeah.
Is what really had me like, okay, maybe I should, try and hustle out here. That, and then just, seeing other family members just doing their thing. Like my mom, she's a nurse, but you could just tell that she was on top of her stuff because she's like, she still does, but she was making shirts back in the day, like just printing them and all that good stuff. So I'm like, okay.
So you really got to see, your parents just doing whatever it took. It wasn't just, hey, this is my job. It was like, hey, whatever it took. Because your mom was making the burritos, huh? Did she know you were selling the burritos?
Well, she wasn't making them and selling them to other people. It's more so just like making them at home for us.
Did breakfast. She know you were selling the burritos?
Later.
Yeah.
Later down the road.
At the beginning, she didn't.
Nah.
Okay. She asked you for a cut?
Nah.
Okay, all right. She let you keep the burrito money.
Yeah. I don't know where that money went though, but.
Oh, she hit you. My grandmother hit me. My grandmother's old school black, and she hit me with the "let me hold it for you." And,
yeah.
Let me just hang on. So
let me hold it for you for life.
Man, she been holding that thing my whole life. I ain't never seen that.
You're not getting it back.
Yeah, I'm like, I've already chalked that one up to the game.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I have to ask the question because you're starting to give me a little bit of an idea that I know the answer. Do you believe hustle is something you learn or something you innately have?
It's something that you have, honestly, because at the end of the day, I mean, somebody can give you literally the formula to make $1 billion. Mm-hmm. And it's been people, if you go on Twitter, there's literally so many threads of people just, giving free game, but only, I would say probably 1 to 10% take action. 100%.
One of the reasons I believe mentally it is something you innately have. And I'm not saying you can't learn it. I believe all skills on the planet can be learned.
Yeah.
But I do believe there are certain people who innately have it. The way I look at it is I look at the mentality behind, winners, very similar to I look at athleticism. I believe any individual on the planet has the ability and capability to work really hard and develop athleticism.
Yeah.
I believe anyone can do quite a bit of substantial leg workouts and box jumps, and you will gain the ability to jump high. But I believe simultaneously to that, there are certain individuals who are just gifted with athleticism. No matter what they did on earth, they're going to be athletic.
Yeah.
And I look at mentality in a very similar aspect. And the reason I really believe that is because for certain people, they can't turn it off. I know quite a bit of people in my life who can't turn the hustle off, even if they wanted to. Even if you tried to, house cat this guy, he's going to be in the suburbs trying to sell something to somebody. It's in them. It's deep burrowed in who they are as an individual. And I do believe, that was something that they kind of innately have. And I think that gives people such a huge catapult and fuel, rocket fuel almost, to start kind of chasing the things that they want, So it's nice to hear, that you kind of think very similar at least, huh?
Yeah.
So you think, you growing up, coming into it, because what it sounds like to me initially, and we'll get a lot more detail in it, but it sounds to me like coming into this, you knew, hey, I just got to hustle. I got to make it happen. And it was kind of like, hey, I don't really know what I want to do, but I'm going to keep figuring out something until it kind of clicks.
Yeah.
And then it did click, and you're like, okay, we got something going here.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of like, cooks who cook and they have the recipes, and then finally they taste it, and they're like, oh, this is it.
Yeah,
this
is it.
And that's a great feeling, huh?
It absolutely is.
So when that happened for you and you guys were doing your thing and then you said, okay, I think we got something here, all the other stuff kind of shut down and you're like, this is where we're going to allocate our energy?
No. So like I said before, like at the beginning, did I mention it? I do have a clothing brand.
Okay.
Yeah. So I started my clothing brand back in 2018. But anyways, I kept running the clothing brand while we were actually in that phase up until like the end of 2020. So no, we were kind of just like hands in everywhere.
Yeah, you're kind of just doing all types of stuff. So
yeah,
walk me through because you said it was 2020 when you guys decided to go mainly e-commerce based companies, right?
2021.
2021. Okay.
Yeah.
So 2021 is when you kind of unlocked that vision of this is how we want to play the game, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So at that time, give me a little bit of understanding to how you found that was the approach you wanted. Because I get what you said about, hey, we saw no one else was really doing this, and we saw a little bit. And I love when people find what they perceive to be a gap in the marketplace.
Yeah, blue ocean.
I love it. But how did you discover that? How did you know about it? Did you have a friend that was in e-commerce? I mean, there's a lot of people who don't even know what e-commerce is, man. They're like, I was sitting with a group of high level business owners. It's actually it's a group for business owners. And these guys, some of them are pretty old school. They've had their company for 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
And we had this guy in there named Joseph. And what he does for a living is he buys single organization or single product e-commerce sites, and then he buys them out in an acquisition, and then he integrates it towards. He's got like a larger e-commerce portal, right? So he's going and buying this place that sells this one thing, and then bringing it in like his own little. I don't want to say it's the same, but it's like his own little Amazon, right?
Yeah.
And we were doing this chat, and one of the guys who's been in business for like 30 years was like, he was given a whole 30-minute pitch on his business. Yeah. And then the guy just kind of looked at him, and he was like, "What's up?" And he's like, well, "What the heck is e-commerce?"
Wow.
And I get it. It's like I would never look at anyone crazy if they said, "What is an NFT?" It's just so new and it's so fatty, and a lot of old school guys, they don't want to learn it because they don't know if it's still going to be here.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So talk to me about how you even got into that space. Talk to me about where that came from, what gave you that idea, where you saw that to be a benefit. Before we even get to what it is, just tell me what was the origin of it.
Yeah. So the origin of really discovering that was just through education, watching YouTube videos, buying courses. And the one thing that solidified everything was actually hiring a friend of mine named Luke back in January of 2021. Okay. And basically he gave the rundown of why we should focus on this. So education.
How did he know? Was he already in it? Was he already doing it? Or how did he kind of know?
Yeah, so he wasn't necessarily submerged in the e-commerce niche, but he did have like knowledge on digital marketing. Okay. And just different friends that were, doing their things. So
okay, so he had already kind of seen a little bit of it, and he was like, "Hey, I think we should give this a shot."
Exactly.
And when he told you that, were you automatically in? Were you a little skeptical? Were you a little questionable?
I was like, because I had hired him before. Like, I basically paid him for a couple of different coaching calls,
like a consult.
Yeah. So I was like, you might be on to something. I mean,
let me ask. Yeah. At that time, the consults he did, were they all successful?
Say it again.
When you had hired him on for like the one-off coaching calls, were they all successful?
Absolutely.
So when he told you that, he already had some credibility.
Yeah. But the funny part is, when I first hired him, I paid him like $1,000. After 2 weeks, I was like, man, I don't know if I can do this. And that's like the one thing with education that I'm finding is that, you need to be able to, it's not necessarily on the coach, it's on you. They have the knowledge. So, yeah, I mean, he definitely had proof of concept. Yeah.
So a lot of times what I notice, I was talking to one of my guys today. I did one-on-one meetings with my staff, and there's this little bit of discouragement that comes when you're trying to learn something new, and there's that kind of gut emotion of, I don't really know if I can do this, and you have to really be okay with that feeling, because you're trying to do something you've never done. Like, you're trying to learn something you've never learned. Yeah. And that feeling is pretty natural, but I think most people who are trying to win, right? Most people who have that competitive nature, they don't like to lose, they play to win. There's a tough time kind of accepting that, because it's like, I don't really want to do this. I would rather go over there where I'm more comfortable and what I know. And, for you, I think you kind of noticed that this was a good opportunity. This was a credible person who was giving me some solid advice, who hasn't really let me down to this point. And he's saying I need to get over here. Yeah. And as much as, it's like, I don't know about this, similar to what you're saying, I don't know if I can do this, you're like, I still need to get there, though, right? Exactly. And that kind of helped you push through that? So let me ask you, what, throughout the process, before we get into kind of the specifics of the business and the e-commerce, when you were going through the journey of setup, from when you were kind of doing a lot to now, kind of finding that unlocking potential of what you want to accomplish, what were some of the tougher circumstances you went through, and what are some of the most important lessons you learned from it?
That's a great question. So I would have to say environment. I was living with my mom at the time, and just being in that environment, I mean, it wasn't nothing horrible, but, when you're trying to elevate to levels that your family hasn't seen, some things just don't make sense to them.
Yeah.
So the environment was definitely something that I had to overcome. And the lesson from that was, if I can overcome this environment for like 3 to 4 years, I can literally do anything. Yeah.
Man, that's huge. It's pretty crazy to me, honestly, that I had a very similar conversation with one of my guys, Josh, about that, like 3:00 today. And we were talking about it, and, I was like, dude, you got to be willing to pay a couple of years of dues. Yeah. And it's not about the discomfort or what you got to go through for these few years. It's about literally every single year for the rest of your life after those dues are done. And those years are going to be uncomfortable. I think I love that you said that, because I believe one of the toughest decisions, but best decisions I ever made in my entire life to date is when I decided, very similar to what you just said, when I decided I wanted to get to a level my family had never yet been. I left. I moved out of town. And I don't recommend that to everyone, because you do have to have a very steadfast and strong mentality to move to a city where you don't know anyone and move away from your family. But for me and my mentality of, I just want to win, and I don't really care, what it looks like. I just want to win. That was one of the best decisions I ever made, because it's not like, I love that you said, it's not that it was bad. It's just they don't understand. Yeah. It's not that people are putting you down or they're talking crazy. It's just they don't see the vision. They don't see what you see, and they don't get what you have to do to make that a reality.
Exactly.
And I love that you said that, because a lot of people think you got to leave because everything is bad. It's not that sometimes it's
not
bad.
Always like that.
No, it's not that everybody in the house is against me or toxic. It's just sometimes I just need to get away from the comfort you guys have been in, and that's a tough thing to say, but, the cold hard fact, and I was talking to Josh about this, the cold hard fact is, wherever your parents are, and I mean this with no disrespect, but wherever our parents are at that time, they've lived such a proportion of their life that their ambitions are not as high as ours. Yeah. We're at the beginning stage of our possibility, right? We're just now seeing our potential, and they've already had a track record of if they can or can't do it.
Exactly.
So
you can't blame them.
You can't blame them, right? Because it's just circumstantial. It's not their fault. They're not bad people for it. They're not trying to hold you back. The world's not against you. It's just, what you've been given, the vision, the dreams, the ambition, the things that God gave you to desire, they're for you. They're for you. And I believe it's a very tough saying, but it's one of my philosophies. When you really believe in your potential enough, and this is I don't say everyone has to agree with this, but how I approach it. Every single person on this planet is either with me or witness to me. Yeah. Period.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying? So, kind of going through that, you're saying, hey, my environment was something I had to overcome. How'd you do it? What did you do? How did you get through it? What are some of the steps you took? What was your course of action throughout that?
Yeah. So I would go to random places like Starbucks, Jack in the Box, in different environments, because I was living in Cleveland, and I've pretty much lived in Cleveland all my life, and they don't really have any places you can work. So I would just go to different restaurants and things of that nature. And finally, last year of July, I decided to move out. So
when you're going out, or is it just a random sporadic thing? Like, I'm going to go to Starbucks, or are you pre-setting, I'm going to leave this house at this time, this day, or how did you approach it?
Yeah, so it really just depended it really depended on what was going on at home. If it was just me, then I would usually just work at home.
There's no distractions.
Yeah, no distractions. But, when the family got there and we weren't having any family time, I would just dip off and do my thing.
Yeah. Just to kind of get away.
Yeah, exactly.
So, one of the things that I really learned when I was younger, and I love that I did it. I was talking to one of my mentors, a few years back, and I was talking about, I used to be the type of person I was. If I wanted dinner, if I wanted to grab a dinner, I needed someone to kind of go with me, and I'd be like, "Hey man, you want to grab dinner?" And they'd be like, "Nah, I'm busy," and I'd be like, "Whatever, I'll just get it to go." I used to be that type of dude. Or like when a movie would come out that I really wanted to see, if everybody was busy, I'd be like, "Man, I'll wait."
Yeah.
And then I remember I was talking to a mentor, and he's like, "Kev, you got to get comfortable with being alone, not in a negative connotation of sadness, but you got to be really okay with just going out and executing on the things that you want to do or that you want to accomplish, even if nobody's there." And I remember I went through like a 6-month phase where I very intentionally, now it's natural. Now I'm okay. If I want to go grab dinner, I'll go grab dinner by myself. But for a 6-month phase, it was really uncomfortable, really weird. And I would, similar to what you're saying, I would go to a Starbucks by myself and work on my laptop, or I would go to a restaurant and sit by myself. And in the very beginning stages, I'll be honest, I was kind of pretending like I was texting people. Or, You're kind of just scrolling Facebook because you want to kind of alleviate that awkwardness. But what I kind of learned is as you do it, you'll get more and more comfortable. And now I'm at the point where without even thinking, I can go watch a movie by myself. And I don't feel, honestly, some people be like, I'll be like, no, I'm going to go by myself, and I'm at that point. So my question to you was, one, with your mentality, with your upbringing, were you comfortable being, going out by yourself alone? And number two, what benefits or lack thereof did you kind of see in that?
Yeah. So growing up the only child definitely played a role in me being comfortable going out. And honestly, as far as like just pros and cons, I would say the pros, just going out by yourself, you're able to just focus usually. Yeah. But the cons to that is once you get so used to, going out alone and just like doing things on your own, it's a little more harder to, network in bigger environments. Yeah. And you can be kind of awkward and things of such. So, yeah. No, I get that. I think there has to be a good balance behind it. Yeah. Because I do know a lot of people, I remember very similarly, I was going out by myself. I was doing these things and I was doing it on purpose because I knew I wasn't good at it. Yeah. And then there came a point, and I almost got dived into it just a second ago, but there came a point where I was starting to tell people, nah, I don't want to hang out with you. And I did catch myself like, I think you're doing it too much, because I was doing it on purpose, but then I got to a point where those same friends who I would go to dinner with, I was now telling them like, nah, I'm good, and I had to kind of realize, all right, in order for me to really balance myself and be able to be sociable and network and meet people and, really be comfortable in my ability to execute and going out and just getting things done, I really needed to balance both sides. And the way I do it, and everyone's different, but the way I do it, I'm really big on a schedule. I operate off of a schedule. I operate off my calendar. I've got a huge DAC board in the kitchen that shows my calendar. Yeah. And for me, I'll pre-schedule those things. I'll pre-schedule things with my friends, and I'll be like, hey, what do you got going on? And if it's on the books, I'm going. Yeah. If something comes up, I'm like, nah, I got something going on. It's on the books. So I try and make sure at least once a week I've got something going on with someone. Because it's very easy for me to enter that like solo dolo, let's get stuff done mode. Very easy for me to be up 2 a.m. on a computer. You know, so you're kind of going about these things. You're going to the restaurants. You're going to wherever you can kind of get alone to get some quiet time to work. How does that then transcribe into you? Making the decision to build the business, to a larger scale. Yeah. Again, another great question. So just being in these different environments and, again, just seeing what other people are doing on social media and YouTube really inspired me to take things to another level. So I would just say just being alone and just being in my own thoughts really helped a ton. And there's a quote, I'm not sure who it's by, but it goes something along the lines of sometimes you have to stay in your own thoughts to get to where you want to be, or something like that. But yeah, I would just say.
Well, let me ask you this question, because I get that one a lot, right? And I talk to a lot of people who those voices start to pop in at night, you know, and you're thinking about what you want in life, and you're thinking about where you're at, and all those things come in. And I know a lot of people who they avoid those thoughts.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, you know, I don't want to think about that. I don't want to do about that. And they distract themselves with stuff, right? Like, instead of thinking about, because those thoughts are subconscious. They're going to creep in there. Those voices will be there.
Exactly.
And to kind of silence them, I know a lot of friends who, you know, they'll you know, drink, or they'll smoke something, or they'll play video games, or that, you know, there's just something to alleviate those thoughts that I think personally, you know, and the only reason I state that is because I used to be like that.
Yeah.
You know, before I really unlocked what I consider to be my full potential, those voices sucked, right? Because they're telling you stuff you don't want to hear. They're telling you stuff you need to hear, but they're telling you stuff you don't want to hear. Like, I remember late at night, I'd be watching a game, and I'm like going to the restroom, and I'd be like, man, what happened to my six pack?
Yeah.
And you just hear it, and you're like, dang, dude, like, you've been eating like crap. You know, you need to work harder. You need to go to the gym. You didn't even work out today. And those voices would start to come in. And at the time, I hadn't spoke with enough people to know that was normal.
Yeah.
I thought maybe I was just like really mad at myself, or beating myself up, or like, you know, I didn't realize that was my goals and dreams. I thought it was just me, like, you know, mad at myself. So I used to be like, I don't want to hear that, right? Like, I don't want to hear that, you know?
Same.
And I would try my best to just put it off, right? If I could watch some dumb movie or play video games, whatever kept that voice from talking, you know. Did you kind of experience something like that?
I definitely did. Just, you know, being in that environment, my thoughts were just crazy at times. And I feel like we definitely grew up very similar. And it definitely seems like just the things we went through are very similar. So it's pretty wild.
It is, because, you know, I'm an only child. Child. Yeah, only child, man. I grew up, you know, with my mom. You know, unfortunately, my father was never in my life, but I grew up with my mom and my grandmother, and you know, my family was not bad, right? But they just weren't. You know, I don't want this to come off negative, but they weren't very inspiring. Yeah. They were very, this is our life. This is who we are. Let's enjoy it. And I don't believe that's a bad way. I do believe, listen, happiness is any way, shape, or form. Yeah. You know, you can be happy, you know, barely making it, as long as you cherish your life. But me, I really believed growing up, I was not happy with the inability to say I can have that. You know, and it may sound weird to certain people who don't approach the game of life this way, but like for me, if I pulled up at a red light and I saw someone in a really nice car, I wasn't happy. I'm like, I want that. I really want that bad. And I think there are a lot of people on this earth who are happy. They don't give a crap about that car. Exactly. You know, if I pull up next to a red Ferrari, there's a lot of people who are like, I don't care about that. But me, I want that. Exactly. I want that bad, man. And for me, I was never going to be happy with that life of just, you know, the saying, just love what you got. Be happy.
Just, you know, it's life. Live your life.
Yeah. That wasn't going to make me happy. You know, for me, I wanted the ability to literally say, I can have any of that. Anything I want, I can have it. And that brings me a joy that I can't express to people who don't see it that way. You know, and you know, for the first time absolutely meeting you, I think we do have a lot of things that, you know, our upbringing started to click, and we came from very, very similar pathways where we link in that kind of light. Yeah. So you know, going through the process, you're kind of, you know, getting yourself out of your element to start working and start trying to get things done and trying to operate. And you obviously have this vision that's bigger than, you know, kind of what your current circumstance was. You know, how much support did you have? Did you have, you know, a lot of people who doubted you? Did you have a lot of people who believed in you? I mean, what was kind of the circumstance in terms of belief around you?
Yeah, so there's something that I'll never forget, and it was said by one of my friend's mom, when I dropped out of college in 2018, and, you know, I started doing, you know, my thing. She actually told me, and we were in person. She's like, I had you up here, but now I have you right here. So that's something that has stuck with me like for forever. So that just kind of shows you that the support that I had just throughout, building wasn't really there. And even then, after, 2 years, it was never really just any support.
Let me ask you a follow-up question.
Mm-hmm.
Are you more motivated by people who doubt you or people who encourage you?
Ooh, I like that. Encourage. Okay. Absolutely. I don't too much pay. I used to, but I don't pay too much attention to people who doubt me, because you're going to see one day.
Yeah. No, I like that mentality. Yeah, you just sit back and wait. You'll see. You'll notice.
I'm a seed.
Yeah. I like that, man. So for me, and I think this was a lot of my mentality kind of coming through being competitive. Mm-hmm. I'm far more motivated. I'm not saying I want it or I like it more, but I'm more motivated by the doubters than I am the encouragement. And the reason for me, I kind of reverse engineered the psychology to figure out why. But the reason for me is I have an expectation of myself of excellence.
Yeah.
And because I expect that every time I step on the court, I'm not really satisfied, proud, or surprised when I'm excellent. So when people kind of tell me, man, that's a great job, or hey, you're doing a great job, or hey, I believe in you, or I know you can accomplish this, I respect and I appreciate it. And there's been a lot of people who have supported me over these years. There's a lot of people who support me today. There's a lot of people who watch every single episode. Devin Miles, I appreciate you. There's a lot of these people. It doesn't encourage me. It doesn't really change anything for me. I'm kind of, I love it. Don't get me wrong. But it doesn't make me work harder.
Yeah.
Because to me, in my mindset, you're just acknowledging what I've already known.
It's kind of like you just waking up and brushing your teeth.
It's just normal.
It's normal.
It's normal.
Yeah.
It's a part of the process. But the doubters, for me, the ones who go, man, you can't do that, or you can't accomplish that, or your goals are too big, or there's no way you can do that. Those people, in my mind, and it's weird, right? Because everybody knows my emulation of LeBron, but I was watching his podcast, his show. I was watching The Shop, and he was talking to a couple of the athletes, and he was talking to Lamar Jackson, and he said, when I'm sometimes down and I'm sometimes need some more vigor, he's like, I walk out there, and he says, I look through the stands and I just try and find me a LeBron hater.
Yeah.
He's like, as soon as I find him, I'm like, that's the one right there. I'm about to show you you're tripping.
Yeah.
And for me, my mentality was like, the ones who do support me, I love and appreciate you, but you're finally just noticing what I've always known. You're finally just catching on to what I've known for years.
Yeah.
All the other ones, they're still on the bucket. They're still on my hit list.
Yeah.
I've got to convert you. So I'm way more interested in the doubters because I'm just going to show you what you should have known already.
Yeah.
So I asked that question because everyone's, different. And I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. It's just kind of where you are mentally and where you came from, Yeah,
it's definitely, I definitely get where you're coming from, because I used to be that way. Like, my doubters would feel me so much, but over the years I haven't had really many doubters. Like, I would say in the last year, I haven't. I mean, if they are, they're not telling me.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people, there's always going to be people that want you to fall, but most of those people won't even tell you.
No, they won't. A lot of times they're hiding in the shadows.
Yeah. Oh, you're doing amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so dope, bro. Meanwhile,
in the background,
they're over here reporting your page on Instagram.
Yeah.
You know how it goes.
Yeah, no, I know. They're to you, they're the biggest fan, and then the moment you turn around, they're like, man, he ain't nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Man. He ain't nobody, man.
His little business.
Yeah, how that little business.
Yeah, okay. I mean, you just asked me for a job a couple of days ago, but okay.
Yeah, man. It's literally how it is. So let me ask you this, right? So through everything, you've got, minimal support, but you're pushing through because you see your own vision. You know what you're capable of. You know what you can accomplish. One of the questions I ask is how much are people willing to risk for their goal? When it comes down to what you want in life, how much are you willing to leverage for that? And in your life, what was the cost you were willing to pay to get it done?
I was literally willing to do anything, because when the day I die, I don't want to go inside my grave saying, oh, I should have did that. because that's not cool. We're living in a time right now where you can literally do anything.
Yeah.
There's like 15-year-olds making millions of dollars. Like, why can I do it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would say that was the mentality behind that.
No, so statistically, this is a true fact. Statistically, it is easier to become a millionaire than it has ever been since human beings have walked planet Earth.
Yeah.
It is much easier, specifically designed behind a few components. One of the components is that there is more cash on the planet than there has ever been. Mm-hmm. We have printed more cash in America in the last 24 months than the past 24 years combined. Mm-hmm. There's just more money in the world. And number two, skills are so much easier to attain, right?
So easy. You don't need a college degree.
You don't need to go to college or a 4-year, 2-year course to gain a trade skill. Now, you may need to get the certification for that trade skill.
Yeah.
But quite frankly, you can develop a trade skill just, quite honestly for free on YouTube. On Google, watching people's, podcasts or shows, seeing what they do. I mean, you can, and I'm not going to say this is the one you're going to become rich off of, but you could become a car mechanic by literally watching the YouTube video of the repair you need to do 30 minutes before you show up to the repair.
Yeah.
And if you get lost, you could just pull up the video while you're there. That was 15, 20 years ago, you had to go to school for 3-4 years to understand how a car was built, how to take it apart, how to put it together. And that's, where trade skills have come into play. And then thirdly, back in the day, before personal reputation was so critical, right? Before people had social media and had individual platforms, when everything was controlled by large-scale networks, you had to play the game based off big box corporations. Mm-hmm. If I wanted to be a mechanic, I had to get hired at a good shop in my area. Mm-hmm. In that same metaphor, right now, today, I could become a one-man band mechanic. I could pay, a couple $100 to have a logo created. And then for free, I could create a social media of my mechanic shop. I could be one man. And I could literally build an individual reputation. Mm. That was not possible before. And those three things are really combining for the easiest time to just go, I want to be a millionaire, or I want to really accomplish a level of success.
Exactly.
And I'm similar to you. I just don't think people are taking advantage of that opportunity.
I don't think so either.
It's pretty wild because literally you can get on YouTube right now and learn how to be a graphic designer. You can go to Upwork or Freelancer, create a couple designs by yourself, and then upload them on there and make $20. And then repeat that process, and then once you get good, you charge them more.
Start selling your services. Yeah.
It's I'm not gonna say it's easy because it's not, but it is simple.
Yeah, I love that. It's not that it's easy, because no level of success is easy. If it were easy, everyone would do it, right?
Exactly.
But it's simple, and that means if you're willing to put forth the work and the effort and the energy, it's attainable by anyone. Mm-hmm. And I similar to what I was saying about the athleticism, I really believe that every single person, if you apply enough intensity towards it, you can really, do almost anything. Yeah. And I don't want to say anything because if you're 45 watching this, I don't think you can make the NBA. It's probably a little too late, right?
Yeah.
But you can do almost anything, if you're willing to put forth the work, especially individual trades, skilled trades, right? Even if, I think there's a level, and we'll dive into your story, but I think there's a level of leadership that is required to run an organization, to have employees, to have staff, to have teams, to have a hierarchy, to have a culture. But if you wanted to do anything on the earth and just be a one-man band and charge for your services, you can do it,
Exactly.
I was talking to a guy, right, and we were talking about how hard it was to make six figures, right? And I remember when I was a little bit younger, my level of success, I used to think success, I made it, was making six figures in a year. I thought that was like it, right? Like, oh, I'm one of them.
Same.
And I remember how hard I climbed up the corporate ladder to get that six-figure salary. And now I look at this dude, I got this friend, he builds websites, and he charges people like $1,500 to $2,000 to build a site. And I'm running the numbers, and I'm like, dude, he only needs 50 sites a year. You may meet one dude who needs 4 sites.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dang, that's kind of easy. And let me reiterate that. I like what you said. It's not easy, but that's real simple.
Yeah.
Because if you really wanted to understand, coding and how to build sites and all that stuff, you apply 6 months of aggressive effort and you can figure it out. And that's a skill you're not gonna not know that 5-10 years from now. You're always gonna have that skill.
Exactly.
And a lot of guys are just not putting enough effort into learning skills. They're kind of just getting by.
Exactly.
So talk to me about, your story. So you made the decision. When did your company, right, become what it is now? Was it before you moved or was it after you moved?
After.
Okay. So what encouraged you to move? Where was the thought process behind that? How scary was that? Where was it at?
Yeah.
Before you even answer that, have you ever moved out of your hometown before?
Just for college.
Outside of college?
No.
College don't count. Did you stay in a dorm?
Yeah.
College don't count.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this was the first time like moving.
Mm-hmm.
How scary was that?
It was so freaking scary because the plan wasn't to move out that early. Like I wanted to stack up, but just with the circumstances that we had, I actually had to move in with a cousin of mine.
Okay.
And that lasted like a couple months. And then I was like, my back was literally against the wall. So, and this was literally last year. So.
2021.
Yeah, 2021.
Okay. So you came out. Your cousin lives here.
She lives in Fort Worth.
Okay, so Fort Worth. So you come out to Fort Worth. You're moving in with her, and at this time, is that relevant to the business or irrelevant?
Say it again.
Like moving out to Fort Worth, did that have any relevance to building the business, or was it didn't have anything to do with it?
Nah.
Okay, so it's just kind of what you had to do personally.
Yeah, it was just like a It's my circumstance. Yeah.
Okay, and then how does that transcribe into the business? How did that then turn into, hey, I'm gonna ramp this thing up?
Mm-hmm. So it wasn't until after I moved out from her place was it like, okay, I'm free now. I don't have to worry about anything. It's just me at my own place. So it wasn't until I actually moved into my own place. So
okay, so at that time you're still trying to create the vision you have for the company. You're still trying to build it up to be what you want. How tough was it to then now get your own spot? Because now we're talking about increasing your financial responsibility.
So to be completely transparent with you, it wasn't too hard. I was a little nervous just because, just being honest with you, I don't have like a credit card or anything. So that was like my only worry is like I don't have like a credit card or anything of that nature or what I need, because I didn't know too much about like how to get into apartments and things of that nature just because
you've never done it.
Yeah. So literally one day my cousin was like, so rent is fixing to I'm going to need a little more for rent. And literally I wish I still had the messages, but like 1 to 2 days later I was moved out.
Man, you were out immediately.
Yeah. Literally.
What was it that the rent that your cousin was asking for was relevant to what you could have got your own, or what?
Nah. It was just like the situation and just again the circumstance. It's just I love it, but it just wasn't my thing. Yeah.
Talk to me about essentially what after you get your own spot, you have your ability to kind of focus. You have your ability to really make the decision that, hey, I'm going to go all in. I'm going to give this everything I got. And you said you took a couple weeks to get your mind right and to put yourself in the correct headspace.
Yeah.
Talk to me about what that looked like. What were you doing? How does that look like physically?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, are you familiar with the book Cybernetics?
I'm not.
Yeah, definitely. You should check it out.
Okay.
I mean, your mindset is
but a lot of
amazing. But I'm not sure you would need the book or not. But that book is something that I was diving into, and I was just working on my mindset by watching YouTube videos. And another thing that I did was I kind of just muted everybody on social media, because social media can be so toxic when you're 100%. Trying to grow to like another level. Like you see somebody who has a 6-figure business or $1 million business, and you're just now getting started. It can be a little discouraging. Obviously that wasn't my situation, but I would just say like literally just focusing and putting my blinders on. like a horse.
Yeah. You know, man, I love that you said that. So some of the best advice I got, and I remember this advice and I tell people about it. You know, when I was real young, one of my mentors told me a metaphor he called the marathon. And he said, I want you to imagine that your race in the business world and your entrepreneur world and trying to attain success is a marathon. Mm-hmm. And you have to be very conscious and understand that as you run your race, there are going to be a lot of people who are ahead of you. Mm-hmm. There are going to be a lot of people who are behind you. He said there are going to be a lot of situations and circumstances that try and distract you. Mm-hmm. And some of them will look very good. Some of them will look like people holding water and offering water, and some people saying, hey, it's okay, you can stop, you can slow down, you've ran far enough. Yeah. And he said the one that's going to get you the most is you're going to see a lot of people run right by you, and you're going to get discouraged. Yeah. And then later in that marathon, you're going to see them on the ground, and you're going to run right past them. Mm-hmm. And he said the only way you will win this marathon is if you put your head completely down to the ground and you run as fast as you are capable of. He said, run your race, run your marathon. Don't worry about the people in front of you, behind you, next to you, talking to you, giving out T-shirts, you know, giving out candy. Yeah. Just run your race, and when it's all said and done, you're going to look up, and all those people you were worried about are going to be way back there. He told me that when I was young, and I'll be very honest. I looked at him, and I was like, man, I wasn't asking that question. I was just asking how we get paid, you know? Yeah. And I remember it didn't register to me. And then one day, you know, fast forward like a year later, I was moving up the corporate ladder, and my boss who hired me, I got offered to take his position. Yeah. And he was sick, right? He's sick, you know? And I remember I was like, oh, man, that dude was talking about some wisdom, right? And he's 50-something, and I was, 20. Yeah. So a lot of the things he's saying, they've stuck with me, but they haven't registered until I matured to a level of understanding. And I was literally like, dang, that dude was really speaking facts. And since then, I've had this commitment of, I'm not here to run your race. You may go faster than me. You may accomplish these goals better than me. But but my job on this earth is to run as fast as I can, to run my race, no distractions, and to get to where I'm supposed to be. And that's, very similar to what you're saying, but I think a lot of people, to do that, they have to be really observant of what's in their way. I think it was about a month or two ago, I remember I caught myself for about 2 weeks, 3 weeks straight, just scrolling freaking Instagram reels. I mean, they're addicting, dude. They're addicting. It's random stuff, and you're just boom, boom, boom. And I remember I told myself, I was like, dude, I'm spending way too much time doing this. And I kind of told myself, I will not scroll Instagram reels. Like, if I follow you, I'll check my Instagram and I'll look at my follower, like the people I follow and what they're doing. But if I ever accidentally, because after you watch one video, you're in the reels, right?
Yeah, you're stuck.
If I ever, this is what I told myself, and I've been doing this for about a month, and it's going great. If I ever catch myself on a reel that's not my people's, I close the app. And I've had to train myself to do that. And since I've done it, my productivity's gone right back up. It's gone back, because now I'm not sitting here scrolling. I mean, dude, it's like 9 o'clock, and and then all of a sudden it's 2.
Bro, I get exactly what you're saying. You got TikTok?
No, I don't have TikTok. I can't do it, man.
Do not get it. You will get addicted.
That's what I've heard, man. That's the same thing. I was talking to one of my guys, John Piper, and he was telling me that he went through that with Instagram, and that's what really made me realize. I was like, dang, I am doing that. Yeah. And then he told me how bad it was with TikTok, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna download that. Not downloading TikTok.
Yeah, it's don't do it.
It's a web. It's like a spider web that gets you. And from what I've found, at least there's good, valuable content on Facebook. You can advertise your business and Instagram. I think TikTok that's just a web. That's just trying to get you.
Yeah, I mean, it has some valuable information on there, but at the same time, it's like TikTok is full of people who are apparently PhDs in everything. Yeah. So, I mean, it has its value, but I mean, I rather produce than consume, so I try to keep it that way.
I like that. You rather produce the content than consume it all.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so you get out here. Talk to me about, you're obviously you're building up the media company. How long have you been DJing? When did that become a part? Have you always been doing that? What's the situation there?
Yeah, so to begin with, the reason I DJ now isn't because myself. It's actually because my mom. Funny story. My aunt, she was having her 50th birthday, and my mom was like, hey, I think this was like 2015, 2016. My mom was like, hey, I want you to actually DJ for my aunt's birthday. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I got my phone. You know, I can just plug it into the aux cord. And she's like, no, I want you to get one of those mix things. I'm like, Mom, I'm not doing that. So eventually she convinced me to actually get a mixer. And for like the first couple of months, I absolutely hated it. Honestly, I would probably say like a year. But once I started to, you know, figure it out and get good at it, that's when things started to click. And then from there, the rest is history.
So why did your mom convince you to do that instead of just bringing on a DJ?
Yeah. My mom has always been the one to let me try new things. And she's always been the one to, you know, push me to do things. Like I've played hockey. I've raced dirt bikes. I've played tennis, soccer.
I'm gonna ask this question, but I want to ask it in the utmost respectful way.
Yeah.
Is your mom white?
No.
Because you said hockey, tennis, dirt bikes, ping pong.
Nah, it's just the town. I mean, Cleveland, it's a mix of both, but just like the friends that I was surrounded by, they had that influence on me. It wasn't just like I woke up one day and I was like, I want to play hockey.
Yeah, you know, because it's never crossed my mind to play hockey. I'll tell you that, man.
Yeah.
It ain't never been in my head.
You're not really missing nothing.
All right. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's basically just encouraging you to kind of try new stuff, to expand yourself, to build your repertoire and portfolio, huh?
Yeah.
And then you just one day were like, I like this?
Yeah.
So when was that? How long ago was that?
Just like me figuring out that I actually like DJ.
That birthday party.
That was like 2015, 2016.
And then it took you about a year to kind of get comfortable with it, and ever since then it's just been a thing.
Yeah.
So I got a good buddy, Trey, who DJs, and he invites me over, right? Sometimes it's literally just me and him, right? We're playing 2K, and I remember we would have the 2K, and we would have the couch, and behind the couch he would have a whole freaking setup.
Yeah.
And he would press pause, and he'd be like, give me a sec. And I'm like, dude, just put on freaking Pandora, bro. We're playing 2K, you know what I'm saying? But it was dope, and I remember there was a time where it really crossed my mind where I was like, I would love to do that. Like, that looks super dope to me. Like, I would do that in a party or have friends over and just DJ. And then I was like, nah, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
You know, but I thought it was a pretty dope thing to do, you know. So is that something you enjoy? Is it a passion? Is it a hobby? Is it just an interest? I mean, where are you kind of at with that mentally?
Yeah, so it's kind of been a roller coaster with it. There was times even after me figuring out how to DJ and liking it, where I was just like, yo, I'm finna hang this up. But now currently, I love it. I don't do weddings anymore. I don't travel to DJ pretty much anymore, but I am working towards a club. So now it's more so of I'm very picky with where I actually mix at and DJ. So it's kind of been a roller coaster. But now I'm kind of at a point where I want to be in a club or a bar.
Yeah, a venue. Yeah, a good venue with a good vibe. So let me ask you another question kind of pertaining to that. And I ask this of a lot of people who have high motors. Mm-hmm. What, if any, is your vice? I think, and I really only ask this to people with high motors because I feel similar to what I was just saying about the grind. It's really tough to turn it off.
Yeah,
it's really tough to turn the motor off, and me personally, I don't think I have the capability to turn my motor off. Mm-hmm. So what I've kind of learned to do is offset my motor with, these are the things that allow me to really just feel relaxed, that allow me to feel good, and they allow me to kind of, I'll never turn it off, but they allow me to kind of let the engine cool down a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, for you in your life, what are the vices that you have that give you that little bit of step away?
Yeah, another great question. And you want me to be honest with you?
Yeah, that's what we're here for, man.
I'm still learning what to kind of branch my energy into, because I'm very similar in the aspect that it's very hard for me to turn my hustle off. Like, if I'm not working, I feel like I'm missing something. So right now, I do have a lady. We do go out. So I would just say that is one thing. But that's kind of like it's separate.
Yeah, it's kind of its own thing.
Either way, we gonna do our thing and go out.
Yeah.
But it's really just helped me, relax a little bit.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily my getaway cut.
Yeah.
If my lady is listening to this, we good. Don't worry about that. But I would say, just going out in the sun and just like sitting in the sun. I'm working on taking walks, and just getting out and doing activities. Like I want to get a bike. So yeah, I mean,
you just like being active.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Sometimes I just, sit and not do nothing,
Just kind of just be with yourself.
Exactly.
So, one of those, so for me, I used to ask myself this question, right? Because it's like, for me, my life, 85% of the time is go, go, go. It is like, what's next? What can I do next? What's next?
Yeah.
And I started to really feel that burnout that I think a lot of people feel, right? Because initially, anytime you do something new, you're passionate about getting to a level where you can see that you've created something. Mm-hmm. And then once you've created something, you're trying to fine tune and harness and tweak. And that's not nearly as exciting as creating. Fixing a broken car is not as fun as building a car, right?
Exactly.
So what I started to realize is I was getting real burned out with these things, and I had to really ask myself, what are those things that, this is how I played it. What will let me keep my drive without being burned out? Mm-hmm. And secondly, what will allow me to turn my drive off without feeling like a bum? Mm-hmm. That's the way I approached it. I tried to go to both ends of the spectrum. And for me, the way I balance it in my life is playing sports was the answer to the first one. That allows me to keep my drive without burnout because it's not my business. It's not money. I cannot function if I go too long without competitive sports.
Yeah.
I just need to feel that, because business, right? The business world, it's not immediate gratification. No. I could roll out the best game plan in the world. I'm not going to feel a win today. It just takes time. It's business. Mm-hmm. But if I could go to the gym and play pickup ball, I could get some wins, or I can even get some L's at times that still I need, but I can get that competitiveness and that edge right back, and I can feel it again. Mm-hmm. And I found out that I needed that to sustain what I do on a day-to-day basis. And then secondly, the other end of the spectrum is, what could I do to turn off the drive and not feel like a bum, right? Because personally, if I don't work for a period of time, I feel real bummy.
Same.
Like one of the things I was explaining to my guys, and I'll answer what I was talking about in a second, but when we had the first ice storm, not this little weak one, but the real one, 2021, where everybody was stuck in the crib for like 4 or 5 days, right? All the pipes were bursting. Mm-hmm. Dude, I was miserable. You can only watch so much TV and play enough Xbox before you feel like a bum. Mm-hmm. I felt like people who I talk crazy to. I'm like, dude, get off your butt. Like, I felt bummy. And true story, dude, I drove to Tom Thumb. So I got a lifted truck. I drove to Tom Thumb 4 times in 2 days. I didn't buy anything. It was just the only thing open. I just drove up there, walked around. I was just so bored. I was like, I can't be in the crib this long. Mm-hmm. So I started to realize that about myself, and I was like, how can I relax and not feel bummy? And my vice currently is I'm a real big movie buff. I love movies. And for me, if I get home from a long day of work and I'm just tired and I'm exhausted and I'm stressed out or I'm bent up, if I can just, get my text out, send my emails, and I have to be caught up.
Yeah.
I'll never feel relaxed if there's something on my to-do list.
Same.
So I will sit there for as long as it takes, get everything done. Send the emails, order the reports, pay this bill, pay that bill, send this text, do that. And then the moment I'm caught up, you're never done, but I'm caught up to today. Mm-hmm. So that means tomorrow I only have to worry about tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Then I'll just turn everything off, and phone's off, everything's off. I'll put something on, Facebook. Hey, I'm not replying any text tonight. Mm-hmm. And I just put on a movie with the intent to not open my front door. I'm not opening the front door. Mm-hmm. Don't call me. I'm not going anywhere. PJs on, and the only thing that matters for this 3-4 hours is this movie. Mm-hmm. Nothing else on the earth matters. And I found, for me, I'm not saying that's what everyone should do, but for me, it gave me this like pause It gave me this relaxation. It gave me this disconnect from this hectic and chaotic world and life where I was like, okay, I feel good again. You know, and that I found out that made me feel better than a vacation.
Yeah.
So sometimes when I'm just like, dude, I'm stuck, I'll literally, dude, I'll pre-plan a movie night with my dang self. Ain't nobody else invited.
Yeah.
I just need a second to just unwind. You know what I'm saying? And I've asked that question to a lot of people regarding their vices because everybody's different. You know, everybody's different. A good friend of mine, he feels that when he takes his son to the golf course. You know, it's him and his son on the course. He doesn't reply to text messages. Trust me, I've been like, yo, where you at? He's not replying. But he's just like, it's just me and my son on the course. Nothing else on this planet matters for that 3 or 4 hours but hole number 2 and my son. You know, and I appreciate that you said, hey, you're still learning that. You're still figuring that out. Because quite frankly, I didn't figure all that out until, you know, I would say about a year ago.
Yeah.
You know, and I've been building my career for multiple years, but it wasn't until and it wasn't until I really felt how harsh my burnout was that I even decided to ask myself what it was. Because I've always liked movies, but I never put that much intention to the recharge behind movies.
Yeah.
I just liked movies, you know. I like movies. I really realized that was something I genuinely enjoyed and genuinely felt good about. And then I said, hey, I'm going to try to make this into a recharging vice. You know what I mean? So tell us about where your business is now. Tell us about the organization. Tell us about what you got going on. Tell us about your team, your staff, what your vision is, where your plan is.
Yeah, you might have to break it down for me. We might have
It's
to
a
take
lot, right?
one question at a time.
Yeah,
Let's start with the first 2 questions.
Okay. So talk to us about where your company is today, and talk to us about essentially let's talk about where the company is and what you're doing in the e-commerce space.
Yeah. So currently where we are, we're still doing our thing with e-commerce brands, but we've kind of shifted our unique selling proposition. So we used to say we'll level up your brand and business through photography and videography, but now we're handling pretty much everything visual. So essentially what we do is we amplify and elevate your visual aesthetic for your e-commerce brand, because a lot of people, they're pushing Facebook ads, they're pushing SEO, but they're not necessarily pushing that aesthetic and that feel that you need for your e-commerce brand for people to actually buy. So for example, with you, it's if you've purchased from any brand online, you probably took a look at their website, their Instagram, and if it's not up to par, you're probably not going to trust or buy. So that's where we actually come into play. So that's where we are now.
So y'all are revamping the whole thing.
Yeah.
So how do you go about it? Do you let's say someone reaches out to you and they want to get you on. Are you doing like an evaluation of where they are and how crappy it is, and then going, hey, based on that, this is what it's going to take?
Yeah, exactly. So we start with a discovery call, and basically we get to know the brand, where they're trying to be 12 to 24 months from now. And then from there, we'll just actually diagnose their social medias together or their website. And then from there, if they're a good fit, we'll let them know. If not, we'll let them know as well. So
what determines a good fit?
So somebody that has an established brand already, who's already, posting content, they're making sales, they have a solid owner, they're direct to consumer, so they're not drop shipping or selling a product that they don't necessarily care about. Another good fit that we actually look for, another aspect of somebody being a good fit, is that they actually have to understand. They should actually want to be building a real business, because there's a lot of people, you'd be surprised, there's a lot of people in e-commerce who are just trying to, make money, which is cool.
You're just trying to sell a product on the side. Make a little bit of side money.
So we try and stay away from people like that. Yeah. We want somebody who's,
because they don't have enough commitment.
Yeah,
you want someone who's trying to build their business and be legit.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a dude who's just like, yeah, if it makes me some money, it makes me some money.
Yeah, we're not looking for anybody who's just trying to throw a label on like a random AliExpress product, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. Don't get me wrong.
So I heard you say something, and this is my ignorance that's asking this. What is drop shipping?
Yeah, so drop shipping is essentially selling a product where it's not in-house. So basically, you're shipping the product directly from a manufacturer to your customer. So you don't touch the product. Typically, you're not able to, add like the branding elements like a note card or anything like that. So basically, they're getting this product from maybe China, sometimes even in the U.S., and it's getting shipped directly to you. So you don't touch the product. You don't have any inventory.
Okay, so it's like I saw this company that was selling these hoverboards from China, and they were like, homie was buying it from me on my website for $400, and then all they were doing was literally going on a Chinese website and buying it for $200, and then putting in their address to send it directly to them. Yeah, that's what drop shipping is.
Yeah, pretty much.
In a nutshell, obviously there's specifics and stuff. Yeah, and in that light, I mean, the only way you could even brand it is if the Chinese manufacturers in this situation put your logo on it for you.
Yeah. So you're able to, put your logo and stuff on it like that. But we've just found that working with brands who actually have their own inventory and they're able to put their own kind of personal touch to the products and like the labels, it makes a world of a difference.
So now you're doing the vast majority of your media stuff with, these e-commerce sites and these people who are selling it. Before, because I hate to have the questions that people are going to ask me why I didn't ask you, right? Yeah. E-commerce. Explain what e-commerce is in a Wikipedia first paragraph.
Yeah. So e-commerce is essentially the process of selling a product online. Okay. And I'm going to try and keep it as
simple as possible,
kindergartner as possible.
Yeah. So it's essentially just selling your product online, and it could be in multiple formats, right? E-commerce could still be me selling it on my website, right? And that's technically e-commerce, right? Yeah. And then is e-commerce also if I were selling it on Amazon or eBay? So any platform is just online. Okay. And then you're saying there's really two sides to the coin. It's the guys who have their own inventory, maybe at their own distribution site or their own distribution company that they work with, and then there's the guys who just kind of never touch it. They just sell it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So you really want to work with the guys who have their own inventory because they care about it more. It's their product. They've built it. They want to see it be successful versus the ones who are just kind of, because is it that the percentage of people just kind of drop shipping? Is that what it's drop shipping? Yeah. They're just more interested in the money and not really the brand. Is that kind of what you're finding?
Well, we haven't really worked with too many drop shipping brands, but
there had to have been a reason you decided to stay away from it.
Yeah. Well, just like seeing it, because I was drop shipping. Okay. There was a point where I was drop shipping. Yeah. I was drop shipping on eBay like 2019, 2020, so I know what it's like. Yeah. You literally most people do not care about the end product. They're just trying to make money. Yeah. So kind of just seeing that for my own two eyes, I was like, okay, if I think this, then there's definitely more people who are drop shipping.
Because you were doing it, and that's how you thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so now the people who are a little bit more direct with their stuff, they just have a higher level of care. Yeah. And I think one of the things that people have to realize is if you're gonna utilize your brand to help grow someone else's brand, you're kind of tethered to them.
Yeah. It's kind of like your own brand in a way. Like you got to literally take care of it like it's your own brand. Yeah.
Because you can't be trying to boost up someone's reputation who's out here talking crazy or has horrible customer service or who is cussing out their customers, because then that's a bad outlook on you as well.
Exactly.
Because your entire business is designed around helping build those people's reputation. Yeah. It's like almost not the same, but it's almost like being a defense attorney. And if you represent nothing but, capital murderers, you might make some money, but ain't nobody gonna like you.
Yeah, exactly.
You're gonna have a pretty tough reputation if you walk into the steakhouse down the street.
Yeah.
They're gonna make you wait in line for a long time. Okay, nice. So, what are some of the biggest challenges you found in doing this business?
Yeah, so I would say building a solid team. A lot of people think it's just, hey, you reach out or you make a post and somebody is ready to go. But to have a team that sees the vision, they see the value, they're not just in here just to be here, but they're here to actually grow the company is very tough. And honestly, I would say that is probably the toughest thing. And we kind of have it down packed now.
Well, I remember you mentioned earlier in the show when I finally, noticed, hey, these guys are in it. They want to build this up. That's when it clicked to me. We've got something special.
Exactly.
So you did mention that. What was kind of that aha moment that's what you had? What was that thing that made you go, oh man, these guys are here?
Yeah. So it was a couple of things. So just speaking to each individual on our team now and just seeing their vision, because I think it's a month or two ago, I literally just say, hey, what's your vision? What's your goals? How can we help you? Things of that nature. And just hearing their feedback. And one of our photographer has our name in his bio. So just little things like that.
Yeah. Then
our graphic designer, he has the name of our company in his bio. And just them being around them and just speaking to them on a daily, you can just feel it. And it wasn't just a specific moment where I'm okay, this is amazing. It's been
a couple of things. Yeah. Kind of, you got to see the buy-in, and you got to see that they believed and wanted to rep the brand.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's,
and another thing, I don't mean to interrupt,
no, you're good.
But once you start getting feedback from your team, that's when you know that you got a solid team.
Well, one of the questions I want to ask you, because I was going to ask that earlier, a lot of people struggle to ask their team for feedback. And I think from the experience that I found is they're really afraid of the answers.
Yeah.
So what gave you the mentality that you were going to ask these people for what they thought, and were you prepared for it to be bad if it was bad? Did you pre-schedule it? Was it something you did spontaneously? Did you already say, hey, in this time frame, I'm going to ask the guys? I mean, how did that kind of play out?
Yeah, so it did take me a little bit to actually want to ask them. It took a little bit. But essentially what made me want to do that was, my philosophy is getting uncomfortable, being comfortable. So I probably said that different.
No, I got you. Being comfortable, being uncomfortable.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying. But yeah, I just wanted to see what we could do for them. If there were any struggles. So again, it did take a little. It took a little bit of me to actually come up and say, "Hey, what are the issues? How can we?"
Did you do it in a group setting or one-on-one?
It was one-on-one, and I also sent the message.
So you sent a message before?
Let's see. No. So it was individual. It was individual text, and then from there I actually
to each person.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I actually did a group text, and we also have a thing where if there's any issue, they can come to me, and we're working on a thing where they can write down their issues and put it in the box, and we'll review it together. So
nice. So you're really working on building a real transparent culture,
exactly,
where guys can really vocalize things that they want to see improvements on, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, that's one of our core values: transparency.
Nice. So run me through the gist of what your core values are for the business.
Yeah. So integrity, that's our number one. I always have integrity. Transparency, that is another one. Another core value that we have is everything that you do it with everything that you have. So basically putting your all into everything. And then lastly, we have a couple more, but I could go forever. But last one I would say that we'll discuss right here is, dang, I just lost it.
No, you're good. I like that you said everything you do it with everything you have. Mm-hmm. That's dope. It's like, I believe personally, if you're going to do anything, man, play to win, right?
Yeah, exactly. What's the point?
And I'm shallow when I say it, and I know it's a lot deeper than that, but in my opinion, just play with the intent to win. Like,
yeah.
Why show up to a career, a profession, I don't care if it's a job you only want to do for a month, play to win. Play to win, because you may, dude, if there were a month in life where I had to go flip burgers at McDonald's, right? Let's just say that just had to happen. It was part of my journey. I don't know who's going to walk in that McDonald's. And there's a possibility that if I'm in there doing my absolute best, I don't give a crap about the McDonald's management or the McDonald's organization. I'm in there trying to be the best version of me. You never know if some CEO of some company is going to walk in because he wanted a McDouble and go, you're extremely impressive, I'm going to get you out of here.
Yeah.
You know, you just, so many guys don't take into account the opportunities that never came in their life because they never played with the intent to win.
It's wild because most people are playing just based off what they can see, and that's the issue. We live in a culture now where everybody wants everything tomorrow. And that's the issue. And when they don't get it tomorrow, it's like, I'm not finna go hard for however long that I need to get to that point. And that kind of brings us back to the question you had at the top of our conversation, which was, do you believe hustlers are born or do you believe they are made? And I think that's where that comes into play.
Yeah. You know, and you're very much right. You know, and it's, the toughest thing for me, in all actuality, and I was talking to my guys about this today, which is what's fresh on my mind. The toughest thing for me is I feel like when you unlock the mindset of, listen, if you pay the dues, you put the work in, you will get it. You may not get it today, you may not get it next week, but eventually you'll get it. And it may seem like a long time now, but in hindsight of your entire life, it's gonna be nothing. Yeah. Even if it takes 2 to 3, like we were talking earlier, even if it takes 2 to 3 years, right now that sucks. But when you look back at 90 years old, you're gonna be like, them 2 to 3 years weren't jack.
Not at all.
And I see it that way, and it just frustrates me when there's someone I genuinely want to see win. I want to see you win so bad, and I'm just like, I just want to just shake them, like, just wake up, man. Like, I need you to see it the way I see it. And I'm still trying to learn how to freaking deliver it to them because I see it so passionately. Everything in my mindset is just like, I just want to Will Smith them. Like, just wake up, man. Like, just come on, bro. But I have to try my best to empathize that they don't get it. Yeah. And I just still have not learned personally. I'll admit I haven't learned on how to freaking get them to get it.
It's a mind thing. Like, you can literally give them everything that they need. It really just comes down to their mind. And the beautiful part about the mind is you can work it. It's like a muscle. You can work your mind. So as long as and here's another thing about your mind. Just like when you work out, if you're not consistent, I mean, you can work out for, like a week. But if you're not consistent, you're not going to see the results. And it's the same thing with the mind. You got to consistently be working your mind because otherwise you might work it for a week. You may see some results, but if you
slingshot right back.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, I love it because I say that too. Your mind is a muscle. You have to work it out. You're so right. I say this all the time. You have to work it out. What you expose yourself to on a day-to-day basis has to be conducive of where you want your mind to be. If you want to become sharper, right? And again, it was today. I was telling the guys, if you want to become better at sales, that was the topic we were talking about. Dude, you have to expose yourself to those things. You can't be doing all mindless, endless, stupid stuff every day and then think you're going to one day just unlock this mindset like there's this switch that's going to flick and you're going to go, oh, I got it all figured out. And the more frustrating thing that I've run into is I've worked my mind for as long as I can remember mentally, and I've tried my best to become better and better and better and better and better and better. But you're very right. It's a slow, gradual change. It's slow. It's like, they call it the fat girl syndrome, right? Fat girl works out every single day. She looks in the mirror. She sees no change. Yeah. But the friend who hasn't seen her in 6 months is like, oh my God, girl, you lost so much weight. She's like, nah, what are you talking about? Because she works out every single day, and it's such a small change that a lot of people look, like my guys, they'll look at me and they'll be like, well, Kev, you can do this and I can't do that. And I'm like, yeah, you can. You just got to get started. I'm not saying you're going to do it today or tomorrow. You're not going to be a great sales rep next week. But if you would have started a year ago, you probably would be there today. And if you start now, you'll be there next year.
A lot of people think that you need to take this big leap when you jump, but it's literally not even you having to take that big leap. It's more so you just taking that first step. And I think the issue with a lot of people is they're more concerned about speed than they are direction, because you could be going nowhere fast versus, heading in the right direction but slower. Yeah. So I would say that's like the issue as well. It's just like,
yeah, no, that's wise, man. A lot of people, you're right. I never thought about that. A lot of people are interested in just moving really fast. Speed is critical because they see fast people.
And don't get me wrong, that is key.
But you gotta work to get there.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to build your speed. And you're very right. It's far more important to be going the right direction than to be going fast.
Yeah.
Because you're right, man. You can be burning a lot of tread and going nowhere. Mm-hmm. And you can be going nowhere fast versus, hey, I just need to start moving in the right direction real slow and steady. But the problem is society has conditioned us to want to go quick. So the concept of, hey, I can go there, but it's going to be slow, it doesn't seem very attractive. Mm-hmm. But it also boils down to what you said earlier, is that people want that immediate gratification. Yeah. They want to feel, and I'm the same way, right? And that's one of the reasons that I play sports.
It's natural.
I want to feel a win.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that what you're explaining, that slow, gradual steps, they don't feel like wins. Mm-hmm. They just again, you work out every day, you lose such a little bit amount of weight. It doesn't feel like a win for a very long time. And the problem is most people quit before they ever see the results. Mm-hmm. So how did you overcome that?
Yeah. So again, that's a solid question. I would say the number one thing, and this may seem like that's not going to work, but just like pretty much muting everybody on social media and just focusing on my skills and growing my skills has helped a ton, because we're humans. We're all humans. If we see somebody else doing pretty well and we don't have like the mindset that we can get to that level or even surpass it, it can kind of mess with your mind. So literally pretty much everybody, I don't know if I did this last year or the year before, but I pretty much started muting most people on my socials that didn't really provide any value on social media, or I just felt, so that's really been like the main thing. That, and then just reading books like the book Cybernetics. Mm-hmm. That's a book that I will read once a year. And just sitting with myself. I used to think meditation was like this woo-woo thing, and it was like crazy. Yeah. But now it's like, yo, if you just like sit there for 5 to 10 minutes, you don't have to, have a bell, or you don't have to, do all this crazy stuff. But if you can just like sit like this, close your eyes, and just breathe, that makes like a huge difference in like your entire day. So just practicing things as such, and just seeing like the fruits of my labor. Yeah.
I think the meditation thing you said was huge, because it was very similar to kind of what we talked about earlier with going in the right direction. Because I don't think there's a soul on this earth who believes meditation and yoga do not actually bring benefit to people's life. I think we all can admit it. The problem is, we see people doing yoga and meditation at the highest level, and our mind, and I used to be a victim of it. Our mind goes, I can't do that. Yeah. I got into yoga probably a year ago out of a need, because I have back problems. Yeah. And I used to see, I remember my first class. I remember my very first class. I walked in this yoga class, and there was this like 70-year-old woman, and we were doing the balance exercises, and she could balance and I couldn't, and she was doing stretches. And I remember I was like, man, this is crap. This is bunk. This is crap. I'm leaving. I'm about to go hoop. And I used to tell myself, it's just not for me. And then I realized it took her years to do that. I watched guys meditate, and I was talking to a good friend of mine, and he was talking about the benefits of meditation, and he was talking about how he would enter this trance where the world didn't exist. Everything in my mind was like, dude, you are on drugs.
Yeah.
You know, he's
That's
like,
how people
I
see
can't
it.
feel anything. Everything feels great. I can be with my thoughts. And I'm like, man, shut, you know?
Yeah,
And then
same.
and then it was because I was trying to compare. It's, I didn't get it at that time, but it was the same way it is in business. I was comparing my step 1 to his step 100.
Yeah.
And in my mind, not built for that. I'm not built for that. That's not me. I can't see that. You're wrong. And what I realize is it's a process, and you got to, just like you just said right now, you're in step 1, and maybe step 1 in the meditation process is just 5-10 minutes with your eyes closed, sitting on the floor, you know, whatever, right? And then same thing I had to learn right now in yoga. I may not be able to do what they've been doing for years, but maybe I just need to try. I just need to show up to the class, give it a shot. I can't do all the stretches. I can't do all the balance exercises, but I'm in my step 1, and I can't compare my step 1 to step 100. You know, and it's very, very, very in alignment with what we were talking about earlier. Is you just got to start moving. You just got to take those baby steps and start moving in the right direction, and you'll blink, and you'll be at a step 100.
Yeah.
You know. All right, so let me hit you with this, right? So we got some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
You ready?
Let's do it.
Okay, so question number 1. Woods or beach?
Beach.
Beach.
Yeah.
Okay. Snow or heat?
I'm gonna have to go with heat. I probably would have said snow a year ago, but I really appreciate the heat now.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Party or solo time quiet?
Solo time.
Solo time.
100% of the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Outside of the one that you've already talked about, favorite book?
The One Thing by Gary Keller.
It's a great book. That's a great book.
I have no words for it.
Yeah. That's on one of my you must reads if you ever want to try. You know, I've got a couple books. It's like you must read this one or you're not even going to try. That's on it.
And I think it's a book that you have to read when you're at a certain point with your business. I don't think it's something you read when you're first getting started and you're trying multiple things. But once you find like that one thing that you're good at and you find yourself veering off, or even if you don't, it's definitely a read that I recommend to all business owners.
Okay. Favorite music artist? And I want to reiterate one thing. We want the real answer, not the right answer.
Okay. Yeah. Kendrick. Literally just discovered this like a couple of days ago that I'm like, okay, I think he might.
You just discovered Kendrick?
No, I just discovered that he's like my favorite.
One. Okay.
Yeah.
He's the one. All right. If you had to survive the rest of your life every day off of one meal, what would it be?
Ooh, these are some great questions. I would have to go with...
You have to eat it every single day to the day you die.
Okay. Pasta. Chicken pasta.
Chicken pasta.
Yeah.
Red sauce or white sauce?
White sauce.
Like Alfredo.
Yeah.
Every day.
Alfredo. Yep. My stomach going to be tore up, but forget it.
Okay, all right. Favorite beverage?
Arnold Palmer.
Arnold Palmer.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Arnold Palmer's sweet, man.
Yeah.
With the Arnold Palmer and the Alfredo, man, you blowing up quick.
Yeah, I'm gonna be bloated.
You blowing up. Okay, all right. If you could, there's no skill set requirement, there's no education requirement, and your success is consistent no matter what. Any business in the world other than what you're doing, what would it be?
Music production.
Music production.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's a dope answer. I like that answer, actually.
I mean, I've done music production in the past, but I'm not doing it now. So does that count?
No, that counts. That counts.
Yeah.
Okay. And outside of the DFW area, money is not an issue. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Dubai. Yeah.
He picked the most expensive place in the world. I agree, because I think you're going to meet people who are going to inspire you on another level. I'm glad you said that, because, I went on this trip, not to veer off too much, but I went on this trip recently, and I want to give a huge shout out to Kingdom Business Leaders, the group I'm in. I want to give a huge shout out to the mentor Santiago. I want to give a huge shout out to Brandon Pogue and the Pogue residents who took us in. You know, we went to Durango, Colorado on a ski trip as a fellowship group, and Brandon and his parents and his family and his residents had such amazing hospitality and took us into this $6 million home they own. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying this, you know, to put his business out there, but this ain't even a home they live in. This is just a home they have to hang out.
Oh, money.
I mean, next level, right? Next level. I mean, I was telling somebody this the other day. The driveway was heated. The driveway is heated to keep the snow from the driveway. I didn't even know there was a such thing as that. There were iron rods in the concrete that heat up the concrete so that they will never have snow on their driveway.
Freaking crazy.
And I'm in this house, huge house, 4-floor house, glass on a mountain, right? And everybody, we were doing fellowship, and they're like, "What's the thing that you're most thankful for, at this moment?" And I said, "Man, like, I'm just inspired to be here.
Yeah,
I'm just inspired to be in this house right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, for Brandon, who's such an incredible individual, this is dad, right? I'm not saying they didn't work. They worked their butt off to be where they are, but this is his dad, right? This is his life, right?
Yeah,
his brother owns a plane. His dad owns a plane. This is their life. Mm-hmm. For me, oh man, this was a game changer. It was a game changer in what's possible. Mm-hmm. Like, I was literally, everybody's having a good time. And I just caught myself not listening to anything anyone was saying. And I was just like, similar to what I was talking about earlier. I want this.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I'm telling myself in my head. I mean, I want this. I want this house. I want this to be my house. Mm-hmm. I want to have this house. Mm-hmm. I want to invite friends over and say, this is my house. Not in a level of greed, but just in a level of, well, why can't I have it? Why can't I accomplish it? Why not me?
Yeah.
And then one of the things that I do is I answer that question. Mm-hmm. I don't just ask it, I answer it. I'm not good enough yet. Mm-hmm. I haven't created the level of success to do that yet. Mm-hmm. And everything from that moment, and this has only been like a week, is like, okay, I got to work harder.
Yeah.
I got to work harder. And, it's not my business to tell yet because it's coming out in a few months, but he got an email, huge news for his business. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about, a big box store is about to put his product throughout the entire country.
That's amazing.
And we're talking about a store that everyone knows, right? It's not my it's not my information to tell.
Yeah.
But he gets this email, and everybody's excited for him. I'm so excited for him. I love him. I love him to death. And I was just staring at him, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, "What are you thinking?" And I'm like, "I got to get back to work, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I need to get back to work. Mm-hmm. Like, I need to go back to work. I need to get on a plane right now. I need to get back to work." Mm-hmm. And I think that is so critical in your circle of influence. I have a rule that I've adapted over these last few years. You cannot be the smartest person you know. Mm-hmm. You cannot be the most successful person you know. Mm-hmm. And you cannot allow yourself to be the most inspired person you know. Mm-hmm. If you do become that, because if you're getting better, eventually you might become that. If you do become that, you need to find more people in your circle. And when I started to adapt that rule, it kept me from ever feeling complacent. Mm-hmm. Because for a long time, I was the smartest person I knew. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean that arrogantly, I just was.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't need to get smarter. I'm the smartest person I know. Mm-hmm. And then you meet someone who's smarter than you, and you're like, all right, I need to get better.
Yeah.
If you're making the most money out of all your friends that you grew up with, right, you're like, I'm doing well. Mm-hmm. And then you meet a dude with a $5 million vacation house, and you're like, I ain't doing jack.
Yeah.
I ain't doing nothing, and it really puts things into perspective. So your answer of saying Dubai, it's probably honestly mine, because that's the richest place you could ever be.
Yeah.
And that's the place where you show up. And even if I got to live there for a month, I would be like, all right, I got to get to work. I got to get to work.
Yeah.
I got to get to work. That's my mentality. Is I want to be inspired. Mm-hmm. I really want to be inspired. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So next question. Money's not a problem. What's the dream car?
I love Teslas. Tesla S, I believe. I think it's the S.
You one of them.
Yeah, I am.
You one of them.
Recently.
Man, I was looking at the Teslas, and then I found out they only go like You can't even. I was looking at one. I almost bought one, and then I found out you can't even drive to San Antonio without charging. Mm-hmm. San Antonio not even that far.
I mean, that's kind of like doing or same thing with a gas car.
Yeah, but here's the difference. I had this debate with a friend of mine. It takes 45 minutes to charge a Tesla with a supercharger. Yeah. Without a supercharger, it takes like 4 hours.
Dang.
With a supercharger, it takes 45 minutes to charge it. You know how long it takes to pump gas?
2 minutes.
Like 3 minutes. You know what I'm saying? It takes like 3 minutes. I can go take a piss, come back, and it's full.
Yeah.
You know, 45 minutes, you got to sit there and watch Netflix. I could already been where I'm going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Tesla's the answer.
Yeah. And this is like super recent. Like I literally just developed like a love for Teslas.
Yeah. I think it's a cool concept.
All black.
I think it's a cool concept. You know, if I was going to go electric, that new Porsche Taycan, the electric Panamera, that thing is fire. That thing is a clean look.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Man, it's nasty. Look, I'm about to switch it up on you. You're going to Google this later, and you're going to be like, this Tesla's ugly. It's a Porsche Taycan or something crazy like that. Okay, next question. In your entire, professional career, what is the one attribute that you believe has given you your success? If you had to chalk, I know you got a lot. It takes a lot to win. But if there was one attribute that you had that you think you've held to the highest regard, what is it?
Being relentless.
Just relentless.
Yeah.
I love that one. That's a good effort.
I think you absolutely have to be it, especially in the industry that I am, just because there's so many people doing the same thing. So.
Okay. And then how would you personally best describe the word discipline?
The ability to do something without motivation.
That's smooth.
Yeah.
That's smooth. I've kind of stuck, and I love that one. I've stuck with one that my middle school football coach taught me, and I've just been with me my whole life. And he said, discipline is what you do when no one's looking. And that one has it's been tattooed, right? You're so pliable at that age, right? And that one's been there. Discipline is what you do when no one is looking, right? Because when your boss is there, or the cameras are on, or it's easy to do the right thing. It's easy to do it when your staff is there. It's easy to be that guy. But when you're all alone, no one's holding you to any accord. No one's double checking you. What do you do?
Yeah.
Do you stick to your diet? Do you go to the gym? Do you wake up on time? Do you go to sleep? That one was like, all right, this is it.
Yeah, that's fire.
Okay. Next question. What one skill set in life, if I could wave a magic wand and give you that skill set, what would it be?
Sales. Absolutely.
Why do you say that?
If you know how to sell, you can pretty much make it anything, or you can make it anywhere in the world. You can get the lady of your dreams. You can build a business. Sales is everything.
I agree 100%. And I love how quickly you answered that, man. You had that thing in your back pocket.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then we're coming to the end, so I got a few left.
Oh, that's all good. Take it down.
Dream girl of the planet ever. Any time, any life. This ain't got nothing to do with your girl. She got to accept this one. Celebrity, doesn't matter. Dream girl of the entire planet.
My lady. I'm going to give it to her each time.
I said I want the right answer, the real answer, not the right answer.
It's the truth.
That's the right answer. Look, I'm not diminishing anything. I don't want her to think this is bad. This is just guy talk. This is guy talk.
Okay.
That's the right answer, and we all appreciate it. What's the real answer? I'll give you mine first. I think I'll make it a little bit lighter.
Okay, go ahead.
Mine is easy. It's been Angelina Jolie. I've been in love with Angelina since I was a kid. I don't know why, man. I think it was Mr. and Mrs. Smith, man. Ever since that movie, oh man, I love me some Angelina, man. And then they came out with the one. Remember the one that curved the bullet? I don't remember what that one was called, but man, and she came out that hot tub, man. Oh man, Angelina Jolie, man.
Yeah. Okay. And obviously this lady is famous, so Karrueche Tran, I think.
Karrueche? Is that the one with Chris Brown?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Karrueche. Yeah, something like that.
I don't know. See, I don't even know how to say her name. So.
Yeah, Karrueche. All right. Yeah. Okay, that's a good answer. And then if you could, all right, so let me rewrite this one. If you were on an island, stuck on an island, dropped in the middle, right? What's the one tool that you would want? You can only have one tool period.
A knife.
A knife.
Yeah.
Why?
I can start a fire. I can kill animals and cook them. I can protect myself. Just so many different things.
You're quick with these, man. It's like you almost got sent an email in advance or something. Okay, last question. Final question. What's the one thing that you feel all entrepreneurs, business owners, people trying to, make it, climb the socioeconomic ladder, make it in corporate America, what is the one lesson they absolutely need to know to be successful in your opinion?
Mm-hmm. Let me sit on this one a little bit.
I'm going to give you a sec. Take your time. Take your time.
Yeah.
All good.
So the one thing that they should learn, entrepreneurs, business owners.
Mm-hmm. The one thing that you can share with them,
mm-hmm.
that they have to understand it, they have to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
It's that thing they got to know.
Yeah. So in order to build a solid team, you have to be a leader and you got to be somebody worth following. A lot of people want to be followed, but they're not good at actually being a good person to actually follow. So I would just say being somebody that people actually want to be around, being a decent person, being a decent human being. And obviously you probably should already know that growing up to be a decent human being. But like I said, if you're building a team, you need to be, you need to just be like top notch. Like that's the most important piece to building something great is your team. Like it's not about you. It's about your team. And if you don't have that team, you're really nothing. So
yeah, I want to dive into that one just a second because I truly love that answer.
Mm-hmm.
Most people in life, especially innate alpha males or
mm-hmm.
alpha women, alphas who are that way,
mm-hmm.
right? They want to be followed.
Mm-hmm.
They want to lead, but very few people are willing to accept and put in the work to become someone people want to be led by.
Yeah.
Right? Like
exactly.
They want a following, but they have no substance to why I should follow you. And the only people who will follow you if you're not worth it are very, very lost people.
Mm-hmm.
And those are not the people that are going to help you build what you're trying to build.
At all.
The people you want are the ones smart enough to realize that individual, that man, that woman, that person is going somewhere,
mm-hmm.
and I want to come with them.
Yeah.
And in order for them to latch on to you, you're very, very right. You have to be someone worth latching on to.
Mm-hmm.
And a big balance of that is being talented, skilled, ambitious, driven enough to where you've got that sauce,
mm-hmm.
but not allowing that sauce to overcome the fact that you do have to be a genuinely good, caring person.
Mm-hmm.
Because sauce can overpower a dish very easily.
Yeah.
And very easily you can find out, I've got that sauce, I've got that secret weapon, people are following me,
mm-hmm.
I'm the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah.
And people will jump off that wagon real quick. They'll say, I don't want to follow that guy. That guy's he doesn't care about people, or he's
mm-hmm.
not a good person, or he doesn't. And, I'll be the first to admit, I learned that lesson the hard way. Coming up, I was so driven to win, and I was so driven to get better, and so driven to become successful as an individual that I started to build a sauce of myself. Mm-hmm. And then I blinked, and all of a sudden I was the most arrogant and self-centered dude on the planet. And it was like every time I would feel that, my justification was, well, I got secret sauce, bro.
Yeah.
And then I realized people don't care about your sauce if your restaurant sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
You could have the best sauce, the best burger in the world, but your restaurant sucks. I don't want to go to your restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
So then I had to learn, you got to have a restaurant worth masses.
Mm-hmm.
People got to feel welcome to be there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, your sauce doesn't matter. Chick-fil-A could have the best chicken sandwich, but don't nobody want to go there.
Mm-hmm.
The reason Chick-fil-A is so dominant
mm-hmm.
is people just love being there.
Yeah.
They feel valued. And
mm-hmm.
this is a lesson I learned the hard way. Is when you run a team, there's this quote that I adapted. Great leadership, and this was one that hit me hard, right? Because I was
mm-hmm.
like, I want to be a great leader. I want to lead people. I want to give the best hoorah speech, right?
Yeah.
And it was a quote that said, great leadership is not about giving the best speech. It's about making people feel valued every single time you speak to them. Mm. And watching certain leaders move, how they move, mm-hmm. watching, Barack Obama, who I admire to the highest levels and esteems, watching him shake hands with every janitor, watching him come off of Air Force One and grab the arm of the Marine saluting him and shake his hand, it just showed you how to treat people on a day-to-day basis. Like, it showed you it doesn't matter the position or the esteem or the success. We're talking about the most powerful man in the free world.
Yeah.
Who walks up to the janitor and says, "I appreciate the work you do." Like, that really changed my life. Like, that was like, okay, Kev, like, if you really want to do what you want to do, you have to lead, but you got to lead in a way that it's not about you.
Yeah.
You got to lead in a way where you make people feel valued every single day. You make them feel like they're worth what they're worth, and that they feel that if they're around you, you're going to help them unlock their potential. That your mission is to help them win and not use them to help you win.
That's key. That's key. And that's another thing that entrepreneurs and business owners should know, is that when you're building a team, you're not building it necessarily to actually get to where you want to go. And obviously that's the goal, but the core value of actually building a team is to help your team members unlock their potential in themselves. And look, they may end up leaving and starting their own company, but at least you can say you helped them unlock their potential.
Yeah. Jeff York, who's a mentor of mine, and he's a CEO of Paycom, which is on the New York Stock Exchange for about $64 billion. He's a big time guy, right? He looked me dead in my eyes and he said, if you want to get everything you want in life, you have to help as many people on this planet give everything they want. If you help all of them get what they want, eventually you will get what you want.
Yeah,
but you don't try and get what you want. Just find as many people as possible and help them get what they want.
Exactly.
And then all that will create a level of success to give you what you want. And one of the things that put a lot of pressure on my life was the day that I decided to publicly vocalize that I wanted to become a billionaire. And I'm very conscious and understanding this ain't going to happen overnight, right? I'm trying to create this from nothing. But I'm willing to dedicate my life's journey towards it, right? And I just want to die a billionaire. I don't care if I touch 1 billion at 90 years old. That's just the goal. And he said, Kevin, you got to understand, if you want to become a billionaire, this is a guy who is a billionaire. This is a guy who became a billionaire. He said, if you want to become a billionaire, you have to understand you're going to have to create a long list of millionaires.
Yeah.
A long list of millionaires. And he said, once you realize that, then everything else will work itself out.
Yeah.
But just start working on creating a long list of millionaires. And I said, I never really thought about that. I just thought I could become a billionaire, right? Like, y'all could just watch. And that was my mentality. I even said it right now. You're either with me or witness to me.
Yeah.
And at that time, I didn't really care about the proportion of it. I was like, all of y'all could just witness me. Every single person could witness me.
Yeah.
And then he was the one who said, no, you need to make sure you have a list of people with you. Because not everyone can witness you do that. It's not possible. You got to create a long list of people with you. And that changed a lot. That changed my mentality of leadership. That changed how I treated people on a day-to-day basis. Again, I'm saying this from a level of vulnerability. I was him. I worked hard to become this sharp and speak this way and look this way. And I worked hard and I was so proud of it that I wanted to tell the world, like, I'm him. I'm that good.
Yeah.
And then when I started to see the world differently, it changed how I spoke to cab drivers. It changed how I spoke to Uber drivers. It changed how I spoke to the concierge. It changed how I spoke to the valet. I'm like, hey, and I mean this, and I say this out loud, and I'm kind of going to, put this out there. I really believe all of these people are one day going to watch my documentary, and they're going to go, I knew that dude.
Yeah.
I parked that dude's car. And I don't want them to say, he was a freaking douche.
Yeah.
I want them to be like, I met that dude one time and he was an awesome cat.
Yeah.
And when you watch my documentary 50 years from now about how I created $1 billion from nothing, I want you to go, man, that I met that cat. And I want you to be proud of that. And I'm going to be proud of the fact that you are proud of that. So once I started to see that, man, it's like I got to leave great impressions on the world. Like every time I meet someone at a Subway, I want to treat them with the utmost respect, and I want to leave and they go, man, that was a cool cat.
Yeah.
And then one day they're going to be like, that dude got a documentary. I gave him do the sandwich at Subway. So these are lessons that I've had to learn really much the hard way and see them the wrong way. And this is the first time I've asked that question to quite a bit of people. This is the first time that was their answer. I knew that, and I've learned that no one has used that as this is what you need to know. Because most people say,
you're nothing without
you got to work hard. You got to work really hard.
Everybody says that.
Yeah.
Nobody will tell you that, the reason that well, some will, but some people won't tell you the reason that they're wealthy is because of their team.
And that's what it takes.
Yeah.
That's what it takes. I'll end the show with this. There's a level of success. I learned this. There's a level of success that you can create all by yourself. You need absolutely no one. But there's a plateau towards it.
Yeah.
And if you stay by yourself and you stay trying to play the game alone, you'll never get out of that plateau. You'll be stuck there. And the only way to continuously prosper, the only way to reach the next level is if you embrace the core necessity that you can't do it alone.
Yeah.
And the sooner you realize that, the faster you can catapult through that plateau.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And who wants to be on a yacht by themselves?
That's a doggone truth, man.
Who wants to go on a flight to freaking Switzerland by themselves?
Man, hey, that's a quote, man. Who wants to be on a yacht by themselves, man? You don't. You don't. You want to have a team. You want to have a unit. You want to be able to celebrate your successes with the people who helped you get there.
Exactly.
Man, that's great stuff. I want to end the show with this. I want to share this. A lot of people have been asking as of recently my growth trips. We talked a lot about how you got to be very comfortable being uncomfortable. I started taking what I call growth trips, where I follow a series of rules that take me out of my comfort zone. And it's an extremely uncomfortable trip, and it's something I chalk up a lot of my personal success to. I truly believe if you want to change your life and change who you are as an individual, you should give this a shot. I've typed it up. I've put it in paper. You can now see the rules of this growth trip. Go to kevinebbs.com/grow. Repeat that one more time, kevinebbs.com/grow, and you'll be able to see these rules. I encourage all of you at least one time throughout this year, take a growth trip, follow every single rule. Don't stir away from it. It's going to suck. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to hate it, but I promise you, you'll get better from it. With that being said, guys, I appreciate everyone's time. I appreciate all you guys for watching this episode of A Student of the Game podcast. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Thanks.